Hello everyone, welcome to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque, painting live on October 21st at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we have our October box, which is our pumpkins, our fluted pumpkin and our knitted pumpkin. So we'll set those aside. And I believe everyone should have their boxes. I haven't talked to Courtney about that, but I'm guessing everyone should have their boxes. So this is the box, and when you unwrap it, you have your quote at the top, and the sun took a step back. The leaves lulled themselves to sleep, and autumn was awakened, by Raquel Franco. So then when you open up your box, that was all taped down and everything in there, but so Courtney did an extra little crafting gift for you guys, and she's not a crafter, so probably mark your calendar. You got a special gift from Courtney for these cold days, so she has some hot apple cider in there, kind of to make up for our little bit of delayed shipping this month. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And then underneath that we have our inventory package and your little extras package, so we'll pull that aside. And then inside that we have our pumpkins for the month, so we'll pull those out. And you can see everything is bubble wrapped and labeled. So inside your inventory package you have your extra brush, which is the extra for this month. We didn't have any glitter or snow or burlap or anything, but you do have this size 10 nylon painting brush. Is this one mine? So we have our nylon painting brush, size 10. It's in your box. So I'm actually going to dip that in the water and kind of condition it and then pat it dry. And then you want to kind of groom it back to a point. And I always do that with my nylon brushes. And then inside there we also have our instructions for our pumpkins. And then we also have our inventory sheet, I guess you could call it. And the paint list that I used, and of course you can always use whatever you want. So these are Mako pumpkins. It's the fluted pumpkin and the knitted pumpkin. So we'll put that aside. And then Mako does not have flyers for these, even though they're newer molds. I did check with Michael Harbridge and they don't do flyers anymore. But we do have our flyer that Courtney creates for us, along with our list. So you can see it's pretty short directions. Pretty fun and easy little project. So we'll set that aside. And then we have our pumpkins, if I could get the scissors and the cart, I guess. Thank you. So anytime you have trouble with your box, you just let us know, and then we take care of the claim if a claim needs to be made. But we've had very few of those over the last 2.5 years, so that's thanks to Courtney's great packing. So we're just going to open these guys up. So you can see it kind of like a Christmas present. Everything comes wrapped and labeled, and it's all pretty in there. You can see she does a great job wrapping them, her and Connie. So thanks to Connie also for helping. So this is our knitted pumpkin. And now we have our fluted pumpkin. And then some of you were able to order the extra pumpkins, which were the, we call them add-ons that we cover the shipping on. We had the, hold on. We had the squatty pumpkin, the oval pumpkin, and the beaded pumpkin, but we were a little bit limited on those. But I will be pouring more for next month, but we're kind of limited because they keep going out the door as fast as I get them poured. So we do have our fluted pumpkin and our nice knitted pumpkin. So last week, because the boxes were out for delivery yet, we did start our additional pumpkins just as extra, because I knew our box pumpkins were going to go pretty quick. So we did a leather technique on our squatty pumpkin using tissue paper. In rust we have it. And then the other one we base coated with avocado and went to medium green. And then the big beaded one we went from garnet red to royal fuchsia. So, Cordy, should we start with these and finish them or go on to the box? What would you guys like for us to finish the extra pumpkins? Or would you like us to start with the box pumpkins?
You could finish the extras and base coat the box for next time.
Okay, so Cordy thinks maybe finish what we started and then start with the other ones. So it looks like we got everyone joining us. So hello, everyone. Let me see. Wanda says she got her box. Vicky's right over in Michigan. Oh, I didn't realize that, Vicky.
Yeah, she's in Michigan.
Diane's joining us from right here in Wisconsin.
There he is in Wisconsin.
Kathleen says to finish. So I think that's what we're going to do, is to finish these guys first. And then we can, we'll probably get the box pumpkins base coated then for the next time. So let's see, what should we start with? I gotta kind of think where I'm at with these guys. Kind of need the paint cart, Courtney. Please. I think we'll go with our green one here. Oops. So we had base coated this guy with avocado. You can do this with any pumpkins. It don't have to just be these guys. And then we did medium green, and now I'm going to go and put a little lime burst up the center, which is our Mako SS376 lime burst. And I got to get some foil out. I usually have that out already, but I left the house a little bit later tonight because I was firing the kiln and pouring. And then it's dusk out, so I kind of got stuck behind a guy going 50, so took a little short on time getting here, or long on time getting here, making the ready time short. So we're going to go with our Mako lime burst. Let's see if we can get our comments to come up. So we're going to, Faye wants to know what the November box is going to be. You guys will get to see on Tuesday. I'll be bringing those to Courtney on Monday. She kind of had a little sabbatical this week. She needed some time off to get caught up on things and just relax the brain a little bit because she's been working her butt off, and we both have been working our butt off. So you guys will get to see that on Tuesday. It's Christmas, wintry Christmas, more Christmas, I guess, than wintry. What else could we tell you? There's 3-piece. Huh?
Clay magic.
It's clay magic. There's 3 pieces.
Kind of newer. Not new, but newer.
Courtney says not new, but it's maybe within the last 5 or 6 years. It's not real old. So I'm just going to maybe I can convince her to post one of the pictures I sent her of one of the little things in there. It won't give it away too much, right?
Yeah.
She's laughing at me, you guys. Okay, so I grabbed my lime burst. I have it's a smaller piece, so I don't want a great big old dry brush. I want a little bit of smaller one because I just want to go up and down the middles. So I have a Royal boar bristle brush, the size 3, round. It can be round or flat. It really doesn't matter. And I'm just going to brush my lime burst up and down the middle here just to highlight that a little bit. I did get a email from Michael from Royal this week, and their brushes have finally hit the United States. So I think we talked about having like a Black Friday special. We'll have to see.
I'm not taking any pre-orders.
There will be no pre-orders. It'll just be like a Black Friday thing. We have to see what we can get first. I don't know exactly what came in, but I think most of them come in. We're waiting for them to actually. They've just hit land, and they need to inventory them and make them available, and then we'll be getting an order out there. So No pre-orders on that. It'll just be a post. Courtney will post it, and you can go to. She'll share the link, and you'll be able to go to Brenda's brushstrokesandbisque.com and add it to your cart with store pickup for no shipping, and it'll come then in your December box. So I think that's going to be our Black Friday special. So we'll have to sit tight with that. We're not 100% sure, but that's kind of what we want to do. So hopefully they have everything we hope they have, and it'll be great. So we're just doing our line burst right up and down the middle here. Kind of just making this a little more highlighted. And it's just in the middle of each section. So normally I do say to go across your textures and crevices so you don't fill them in, but I'm trying to get the line burst just in the center of each of these little sections so I can go up and down just in that little section there. I'm going nice and light with my brush. And we kind of talked about that Thursday at the classroom. Some of the ladies wear their brushes out in one day. And I do have brushes that are years old. And just listening, it sounds like listening to their brush on their piece. They're very heavy. You can really hear the brush on the piece. And when I'm doing it, I can barely hear the brush on the piece. So I'm a lot lighter painter, or dry brusher, I guess you could say. I just like that color to go down in lots of layers, nice and light, and then it builds up for that nice gradual shading. And not that heavy, lots of paint, dry brushing. And then you tend to get like brush strokes marks when you're going real heavy like that. So you can see I'm just going really, really light. So if you're having trouble, that may be something you want to do, is to try to brush lighter and then less paint. One of the clues that your paint is, you have too much paint, is if it's going on really shiny and wet looking, you definitely have too much paint in your brush. So when I go to my color, I'm just grabbing it on the edge. I'm not getting all kinds of paint. And I'll show you what a lot of people do. They go in there and get a whole bunch of paint like that, and then they're brushing that all out on their paper towel and really just wasting their paint. So now I got to brush that out because I don't want all that. So when I'm going in that paint, I'm just going on the edge and getting just a little bit, and then brushing it out so it's nice and dry. So hopefully that'll help you guys to figure that part of it out. It's a very little paint and brushing fairly lightly. So now I'm just coming back around. I left all those sections dry by going from one to the next, and now we're back around to the front, and I'm going to go one more time. So I don't want it to look like a lemon, but I do want it highlighted in each section. And you can see I haven't gone back and got much paint. And now I'm just building that up a little bit more. And now we're back around to the front. And then something I'd like to do is I'm going to go back to my medium green, which is our Duncan OS 463. You want to give that a good shake always. So these have been sitting since last week, so I'm going to give it a good shake. You can see you only need little piles of paint. You don't need big puddles of paint, so you're wasting your paint. I'm going to use that same dirty brush. Again, I'll just show you because we have that fresh puddle. I'm just going into the edge very little. Brushing that out on my paper towel. And when I switch colors, I do that a couple times. I'm not, the comments keep going out. So, let's see. Courtney's trying to show me some messages. So now I have that medium green, and I'm just going to go back over that line burst. And it tones it down just a little bit, but yet it made our medium green that was underneath there brighter in the middle. And I tend to do that with a lot of times when I get to the highlighting part, is to go back over my highlight color with that base color, because now I'm putting that medium green back on it, so it like blends it back together, but yet because that brighter color is underneath there in that center stripe, it makes it like a brighter green, and it's like a highlight that just goes right with your layer that was before.
So it was Faye's first time dry brushing, and she just started over with her girl go. She thought her brush was too big.
Oh, okay. So Faye says, where's the first one? I had to start over with my girl ghost. My first try dry brushing. Brush was too big, yep. And it does take time. Well, and that's okay. You can go back and touch up her hair. You can always send me a picture, and Courtney will let me know that there's a message that someone needs more technical help because she takes more of the computer part. And then like I can kind of guide you through it too. But you do want to use smaller brushes for smaller areas and bigger brushes for bigger areas. So like if I had this big old, let's see, like if I had this big old size 10 flat brush and I was brushing my centers, I wouldn't have the center. I'd have the whole section highlighted. So really, I just want the center section, so I have a brush that fits that area better. So you do need to use kind of brushes that fit the area. But hang in there. Dry brushing is it's a slow process, and a lot of people think it goes really fast, or they want it to go really fast, but it really is a slow process. So that is our pumpkin. So you can see he's got nice highlighting. And from there, we'll actually do the silver on all their stems at the same time. So he's actually done at that point. So we'll set him aside. And now we can go back to our orange one. And I got to think of what colors I use because it's been a while. So we had rust on here. So we'll go to hot orange and orange peel next. So I have our hot orange OS 439 hot orange. So we could probably start out with a little bigger brush on this one because it's all one color, but I'm going to go with that littler one again, a smaller one again, so that I can do those stripes down the middle. Let's see if I can find my ball stylus because my feet don't want to come out. Again, I have the hot orange OS 439. And again, I don't want to go with a big brush because like this size 10 is as big as each of these sections. So I'd have the whole thing with hot orange, and I don't want the whole thing with hot orange. So I think I got to take some of these brushes out of my little pad here. They're falling out. So I actually have a size 3 again. I'm going to work a little bit of that hot orange in there. And now when I look at my piece, it's been, we base coated it rust. Then we tore crinkled tissue paper into sections.
I put a little bit somewhere.
So we cut it into, we actually tore it into sections, and then we painted that on. And then when we left that dry really well. So it was just tissue paper from the Dollar Tree, and we just crinkled it up. You don't want the straight edge. I had torn the straight edge off. And you can go back and watch the previous videos. And then I just tore this into little pieces, maybe like 1-inch pieces. Then I laid it on there and just painted it full of rust paint. That's all that was. And then we left it dry since last week. So now we are going to dry brush it. So we look at our crevices and they're going vertical, so I want to go across them when I'm dry brushing. And you could start with a bigger brush and then switch to the little one, but we're going to just go to our little one because we'll need that to do the highlighting on it. So now that's wet and shiny. That was too much paint. I need to brush that out. You don't want it to go on that thick and heavy. I want to let that rust down in the crevices between each section, and I just want to build up the orange peel, kind of like leaving maybe a third or a quarter on each side of the rust, and then the rest is getting the the orange peel now. No, hot orange. Sorry guys, I got paint moved around here. Hot orange first. So it's the hot orange. And now that's my brush is catching on those wrinkles, so that's gonna highlight those really nice. And then I just come right down to my bottom. You always want your bottoms to look good too. And I'm gonna start on one area and I'm gonna work my way around. That way it can dry over here until I get back around, because I don't want to do one section completely. I want to let that first coat dry and then just work my way back around. So I'm a little bit shiny again, so that's getting a little heavy on the paint here. And again, I'm going horizontal because my crevices are going vertical. So now I have these two sections kind of done with my hot orange. I'm going to grab a little hot orange again, brush it out, and I'll come to my next section, and I'm just going to keep working my way around. So let's see, we got any comments going on? Let's see. Denise says it's been a... Oh, with the cracked base. Yep, that's okay. With the fountain, I think you could maybe just use some like tub and tile silicone over that crack, hopefully, and that will seal it because I don't have a base for that fairy fountain. There's a flex steel that you can use to seal things, but I can't remember if that dries clear or black. I think it dries black because I put it on my boat. On the outside of it when I put it in the pond because there was holes in it, and it works really well. But you'd have to check if that...
I feel like you should elaborate.
Huh?
Put it in your boat in the pond?
Yeah, put the boat in the pond, yep. So it's a product called Flex Steel, and I think it comes in aerosol, and I think it comes in a quart can too, and I just brushed it on the bottom of what size boat is it? A 10-foot boat. And I have a koi pond.
You say that so nonchalant.
And then I put flowers in it, so it had holes in it. I only paid $100 for it, so I bought the flex steel and painted it on there and did 2 coats of that, and that sealed it so it wouldn't sink. And then I fill it up with annuals for the summer, so it's nice and pretty in the pond. So I'm not, but I think that stuff was black. I don't think it was clear, but I'm not 100% sure because that's been like 5 years ago. The only problem with that is that whenever it rains, it fills up with water on the inside, and then I gotta bail it out, so it's kind of been a pain in the butt that way. I could probably put a little fountain pump in there and just plug it in and pump it out, but I haven't really had the time to do that the last 2 years. But Denise, if you can find that flex steel stuff, it's like a coating. It probably wouldn't work on the fountain if it's black, but if you can find some clear stuff, and I don't even know if there's clear stuff, but otherwise like a bathtub and tile silicone comes in clear, and you should be able to maybe put that along your crack and use it. So we're just using our hot orange and going around our pumpkin here, building up that nice orange color on it, leaving our rust down in the crevice. Just working from top to bottom of each little section and going from one section to the next.
Jen was watching it, and she found us on YouTube.
Who?
Jen, she came from YouTube.
Oh, so welcome Jen from YouTube. I think we're switching to YouTube next month. Courtney and I haven't been able to talk about it since we talked about it the first time, but I think that's the plan. She'll be posting the link on here, and then you can just click that and come to YouTube. Courtney says we hit another milestone over there. We hit 600 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. We can do the chat and everything over there too, which is hopefully will eliminate the streaming issues I have here on Facebook, where it kind of pauses and you guys seems like it's locked up in things and just different Facebook issues. So. And we don't have closed caption when they change to the business suite stuff. So we'll be able to have the closed caption back once we get to YouTube again. So again, I'm a little bit heavy there with the paint. I usually don't like it to get that shiny. I'm probably talking a little too much and not brushing out the paint enough. So if yours is shiny like that, when you're dry brushing, that's more of a wet brushing.
Farmhouse Kelly asked, does the paper dry enough where it doesn't rub off on the pumpkin when you dry brush?
So we have a question, is the paper dry enough that it doesn't rub off when you're dry brushing? Yep, it's like sucked right to it. Like you can't rub it off. You'd probably have to take a sander and sand it off if you wanted it off.
Do you need to wait like a full day?
So Cordy asked if you need to wait a full day. I do recommend waiting like overnight. I wouldn't like put the tissue on and like dry brush it right away. I'd let it overnight. and then dry brush it so it's really good and dry. So it's really sucked on there. It really adhered to it. And you can do this on tons of things. You could do it on gourds. You could do it on boxes. Any almost smooth surface. It don't even have to be like smooth. Maybe a snail that has a shell that's kind of smooth. What else could you do it on? There's just a ton of things you could do this on. Courtney thinks like on a monster skin or something like that. I mean, you could do it on like a ghost, I bet. There was some other things I thought of, and now I'm kind of drawing a blank to it. Courtney's moving the light so hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of that orange, hot orange, and dry brushing around. Letting that rust down in the crevices. I usually like about 10% of my base color, so there's a good example of too wet. I gotta brush that out more. And then I'm just gonna brush that, and now I'll let it, and I'll have to build up my color around that to get it to match that, which we're going to that anyway. So, let's see, someone says they did it on Santa bags. It works good. Oh, I bet it would too. Mummies, yep. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you could probably use this on. Easter eggs, I think, would be another good thing. Anything kind of smooth. The gourds that we had in one of the boxes, you could do it on gourds. What else? There's just a lot of different things you could just put it on. It's actually a wall technique that's used on walls, like on bedroom walls or whatever. I know someone that has it on their bedroom wall. And I think it's been there for a lot of years, so it's pretty sturdy once it's on there. So we're kind of working our way back around here, grabbing that little bit of hot orange, brushing across those sections. So let's see, keep losing my little things here. See, I know they used to use like the centers of the Kotex too, and that little fluffy stuff, and use that on, I think like for the fur, like on Santas, or on like the hair on clowns and things. That's something I haven't done, but I know there were classes probably back in the 80s where they did that too. So we're just brushing that out. So now we're actually back around here. But the biggest thing with dry brushing is to just really be patient. Try not to put too heavy of a layer on at one time, or to finish one area in one brushing. You want to just have all those multiple light layers. Probably brush a little bit lighter versus so heavy. That's kind of the conclusion we came to at the classroom today, or on Tuesday. Like there, I could really hear the brushes like beating on the pieces, and like I'm just barely touching my surface, and that's what gives you that nice light layer, and then you just keep building that up. So you can see, hopefully you can see that on the camera, we're getting darker in our crevices, and we're getting lighter in our little middle sections here. So again, there's too much. I needed to brush that out more. When it's wet and shiny like that, it's too much. It shouldn't be that wet and shiny. That's more of a wet brushing, which that's fine. You can wet brush it too if that's what your goal is. And then you always want to come down and do the bottoms as well.
Marianne said she had a friend who did a wall with torn paper bags.
Oh, torn paper bags. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's different papers you could use. And this was actually crinkled up stuff. I'm trying to think. Someone else told me a different paper they use too.
Newspaper?
Huh? Newspaper? I don't know. I mean, I suppose the paint's gonna cover it.
Well, the farmhouse pantry floor had newspaper down there. Remember that?
Like under the flooring, or?
It was the flooring.
Oh, so Courtney said the farmhouse pantry had newspaper down on the floor. I don't remember, I guess. I mean, they used to put newspaper in the walls for insulation.
Come a long way.
Come a long way. Kind of like the pouring room. I kind of rearranged it again this last week, and it's just really coming together as far as being efficient. Having the kilns up there and the pouring table there, and last week I brought the smaller pouring tank with the nozzle on it upstairs, and got that thing back to working because it wasn't working. I had to take it apart and got it back working, and so now I'm not pouring with the pitcher and the pail anymore, which I think we kind of went from crawling pace to driving with a car pace. It's really amazing how much more efficient we are.
Have you tried your new gun?
I didn't. Courtney asked if I tried the new gun yet. I did not, but it's on the table, and the table's full of water to mix slip. I'll do that tomorrow, and then I'll be using it.
You need another one for the other one?
Nope, the other one's going. I fixed the other one this weekend. But it made it so much more efficient from using that pitcher and 5-gallon pails. Like, it's just amazing. Like, like I said, it's like going from crawling to driving. Like, there's no riding bike or learning to walk. It's just amazing how much more efficient it is. Huh?
Air bubbles?
I had a few little air bubbles on one of the pieces that are the extras for November, so I think it might be the shape of the piece, the roundness of it. I'm not real happy with that one. We'll have to see how that.
Is it the big one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The big one, or
Yeah, the one that's the size of these. You know, it's the add-on one if they wanted it. So I gotta
maybe try
kind
the
of.
old way?
No, I tried something else today, so I put it through the screen first.
I think they're gonna like that piece.
I do too. So I'm trying to figure that out, but I'm actually putting the December molds on the table when I get home tonight. That's how far advanced it has made things, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing that till like the 5th of November normally, and they're going to be poured tomorrow. So it made a huge difference not having to go up and down the steps and box that stuff up. And so we have our little orange sections all covered now. So let's see here. See if we can get our stuff back. And now we're going to go to our orange peel to highlight a little bit. It's OS 438 orange peel, OS 438, and you can do this as much or as little as you want. And you guys are always welcome to use whatever colors you want. You don't have to use what I'm using. It's just what I used when I made up the sample when I was playing around, just to get different colors with the different pumpkins. So I have my same round brush. Again, I'm just going to dip in that edge. I'm not going in there and loading that brush up. And I'll do that a couple times.
Can you tell them if they bought a bottle of brush from us that it's no good to let us know?
And I actually forgot to bring it to you. So if anyone, we noticed we had some rust. A case of rust. Probably because I had two bottles I took off the shelf at the classroom. The OS 454 Dunkin'. I don't know what happened to it or why. But if you bought, so there's probably 10 other bottles out there. If you bought a bottle of rust and when you open it, it's really, really thick and really, really chunky and grainy on the inside, message Courtney and we'll get a hold of Glazers and see if we can get that replaced. Because it's no way that it should be that way. So anytime you guys have a trouble with one of our products, just, let us know and we'll take care of it. So now we have our orange peel. And this one, I didn't really do I did a lot more highlighting on it than I did with the green one. So it's kind of up to you what you want to do. So we're going to actually keep going across the sections instead of going up and down, just to kind of highlight it more. I wanted it more bright, pumpkin-y looking. So if you, we figure that there's another 10 bottles out there somewhere. So if you have a rust that you've gotten to us, probably like in the last 6 months, let us know.
No, it'll be in the last 2 months.
last 2 months, Courtney says. Because I had one off the shelf and it was horrible. And then I went and got another one. Yep. Okay. Yep. So Courtney just brought it, and I can.
It's not 10 bottles open, and there's like probably 4 more bottles open.
Oh, this one isn't bad though. No, this ain't bad. This one's fine, Courtney.
Okay.
No, the other one, like this, there's no chunks in here. The other one is what I have is really, really chunky.
Okay.
So I don't. Maybe it's just 2 bottles too. I don't know, but it's terrible. No, the new stuff looks fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can put them in a replacement.
So she does. If you have one of the bad ones, I mean, there could be a few out there. I don't know. Maybe it's just those 2 bottles, but
bought it from us,
that's yep. If you bought it from us, and she'll be able to check the invoices. If you bought it from someone else, you'll have to contact them. But if you bought it from us and Courtney has, I lost the stuff. Courtney will be able to check your invoice. And then you can even like.
You bought it from the farmhouse.
Yep, or if you were at the farmhouse and bought it in person, just bring it back in and we'll look at it and we'll be able to exchange it for you. You just take a picture of it, squirt it out on your foil or your palette, and we'll be able to see that it's no good. And she can replace it. So we did get paint in with our order, so. If you have one of the bad rust, and I don't know, maybe nobody does, but I had 2 bottles, so we just want to make sure that if anybody's out there has bad paint, or anytime you get something that's not kosher, let us know. So we're just highlighting this little guy here and just kind of going back and forth. And you can have him as bright or leave him as rust colored as you want. I'm just going to go back and forth, just keep grabbing that little paint. Again, I started in one section, and then I just keep working my way around instead of going back and forth. That way I know where I've been and what's dry and what's wet. Actually, it probably would have been better to go the other way backwards, but I'm kind of going like the clockwise way here. But it's working. So we'll just keep brushing this out. And then you want it nice and even. You don't want it like a lot, like here's a lot right now and there's not much here. So when I come back around, I'll get more here. You don't want it spotty or splotchy looking. You want it even looking. Let's see if I can get our comments back. That's all right. So we will keep going here and just keep building that up, getting it nice and light. You can see you can go quite a ways with that little bit of paint, a little bit of dry brushing, and you can see how the texture from the tissue is starting to really show up because of the lighter color now. This might even be like if you had an elephant, to do this like on an elephant even. And we just got an elephant mold because Courtney likes elephants, so that might be kind of a cool thing to do on there. Kind of actually make it look like a wrinkly elephant skin. So we'll just keep working our way around. So you can see by going across our little edges of this really noticeable on this one, that letting our dark color down in our screen, in our crevice, and then it gradually gets to our hot orange, and then our orange peels on top where it's nice and highlighted. So that's what dry brushing does for you. Even if you antiqued it, it wouldn't be quite the same. So that's what's nice about dry brushing. And again, I'm brushing fairly light because it's just going on there really, really nice, grabbing all that texture from that tissue. So I might have to come up with some more stuff to do this little technique. So that's way too wet again. I can see my brush marks, so I brush that out more. Like if it's going on real obvious like that, then it's too much. If you're seeing brush strokes or shininess. So I'm kind of letting, I don't know, 25% of my hot orange showing. And then just dry brushing my orange peel over the top here. So it's looking pretty good. just gonna keep going. And I think I have to talk to Cordy, but we still have our Halloween party going on. I believe it's Saturday the 30th, so it'll be a week from this Saturday. We're gonna paint the little witch that we had that some of you guys got, and then we'll probably have some giveaways and some trivia and just a little fun extra night. So we're coming back around the corner here. So just brushing really, really light, trying not to get those brush marks, because you really don't want it to go on as brush marks. You just want a nice smooth layer of paint going on. Sometimes I do go up and down. When I am going up and down, I'm not doing it in my crevice. I'm doing it on that higher, the fatter center section of those sections, but I'm not doing it in the crevice because I want to keep that darker color down in my crevice. Huh?
Kelly just bought rust at the farmhouse. That's fine.
Well, that's good. I don't know. Yeah, it was 2 bottles, and I know the 1 bottle I had on the table for a while, so it was probably before she bought hers, and then 1 after here, because Mary was using it. And yeah, so I don't know. It's really, I never seen it like that. Really, really grainy, really ugly, and it went on really terrible, like a watercolor almost. I don't know. We shook it up really good too. So like there, got it too wet. So I'm gonna just let that dry, and we'll build up our color the next time around. Usually it's better to just let that when you do that, and come back around unless it's so much that you can wipe it off. So what you really want, like now it's going on nice and light. That's really what you want when you're dry brushing, is that nice light, like you're maybe like dusting powdered sugar on the top of brownies or something. Just really, really light. And you could be going with a bigger brush too if you wanted. I just kind of like the size 3 for this size of a project. So now I left that dry, so now I can come back and build up my color around it to blend that too heavy of brush mark in there that I got. And then I want to come right down to my bottom. You always want to do those bottoms and make those look good. That's especially important if you're helping the 4-H kids, because the judges should be judging that. I don't know, I'm not a judge, but I know that that's always what I hear, that the judges check the bottom of things, so you always want your bottoms. It just makes your piece, you can see, so this one's done on the bottom. This one's not done on the bottom because we haven't gotten that far, but look, the orange one looks so much nicer than the one that's not done. So that's why you do want to always do your bottoms. Now you can see there's an obvious difference there. But you can see all our nice wrinkles from our tissue paper. It looks great. So again, I'm just like, we made it back around now. So when I look at this, you know, this is usually the point where people say, oh, am I done? And I go look, and I got to get out those little nasty words that they don't want to hear a little bit more. And the reason that I say that is when I look at this piece, I can see there's a brush mark here. There's not much here. There's not much here. There's a lot here. So it's not very even. There's a lot here. There's not much here. And then when you keep looking around, we got a lot here. There's not much here. So it's very splotchy looking. We got brush marks here. So that's that point where I got to get out those words and say a little bit more. So that's why we're going to go back around it again, those sections. So, and I did get a shirt for my birthday from my cousin Pammy. I forgot to tell you that, Courtney, even, and it says a little bit more on it.
Oh, really?
Yep, she must have had Sherry Jean make one that says a little bit more. It's blue, and it's blue too.
Oh, cool.
And it says a little bit more on it. And then I got a Dairy Queen gift card, and then some Hostess type little cupcake things. So she got me all my little favorite things, ice cream and desserts, and a nice little t-shirt. Yep. So thank you, Pammy, for making our day on Tuesday. Oh, and I forgot to bring those little containers to show you. Someone, I think it's Connie maybe. It's either Connie or Pammy left little containers with screw-on lids at the craft room for us. So So we're just working our way around, building up this orange so it's a lot nice and even and not splotchy. So when I look, I got a lot here, but I don't have much here. So then when I'm coming around, I want to get those areas that don't have as much as some other areas, so it just looks a lot more even. So we're going to just keep going around.
Oh, Marianne, congratulations.
So,
She's a grandma.
so we have a congratulations to Mary Ann. She's a grandma. Well, good for you. A little Olivia.
I like that name.
That's a cute little name. I noticed they're using a lot of the older names. We had one of our ladies is painting dinosaurs for a niece, so I guess a great niece, and that little one's name is Eleanor.
I like that name.
And I can't remember what the other one that she had earlier this year, but that was an older name too, maybe Yvonne or something, but it was an older name too. So we're just building up our orange peel so we get it nice and even. So when I look here, there's a lot here. Got a big old low spot here where there isn't so much, so we want to build that up so now we can see that this is more even. So that's what I'm talking about, the evenness. We don't, like here there's not much paint, but there's a lot more here. So when I'm coming back around, I want to build this area up where there isn't as much, so it's just a lot more even looking and not spotty and splotchy looking. So that's what I'm doing as I'm going around. I'm not just brushing, like I'm actually looking at my piece and trying to make the color even. Any places where there's brush marks, I'm trying to brush the opposite direction of those brush marks to blend those in so that we don't see those. I'm kind of going down, up and down each little section. Basically in the center, letting that rust in the hot orange in those crevices. I'm just trying to get it nice and even. So here's that blur of paint where I put too much, so I'm just going to brush real lightly over that and try to like blend that in there a little more so it isn't so obvious. And then we'll just keep working our way around it. Let's see, I heard on the way down that we got frost warnings for the next couple of nights, but I think we've had frost already, so I don't really think it matters. Pretty sure there's been frost on the car windows a couple days here already. We had a really nice weekend with nice temperatures, but it's a little bit cooler here today. And we had rain, very fall-ish. Fall arrived, Courtney says. We've had rain all day yesterday. I actually have to open the garage door when the kilns are going because it's just way too warm in there, which is good because I was worried we wouldn't be warm enough for the winter. That's not a problem. And that's why I actually moved things around in the garage, was to get the cleaning table away from the kilns and the other end of the garage by the garage door so we wouldn't be getting cooked. So,
Don't want to wear your swimsuit in January?
No, we don't want to wear our swimsuits in January. So we're just working our way around, just building that up so it's nice and even. Kind of focusing on the middle of those, each sections, letting the little crevices with our rust.
I have a question, Jenny. Is it harder to get even brush strokes because of the paper?
So we have a question, is it harder to get even brush strokes because of the paper? Maybe a little bit, but you really don't want brush strokes, so to speak. You just want paint coverage going on there really lightly. So I mean, it's like when I look at this, it's a fairly even coverage. You're still going to have your dark rust down in the crevices and cracks, and you want that because that's what's going to bring attention then to the high parts that we're putting the orange peel on now. You don't want it the solid orange peel. You want the rust down in the crevices, even on these higher sections. It just helps make it blend it all together. It's what gives this piece a lot of dimension, because we have the high and the low areas, the high areas with the wrinkles, and then the low areas with where the rust is. That's what it just makes it really interesting that way, and it brings out those wrinkles. If it was all like painted the orange peel solid, like you wouldn't notice those wrinkles as much because now they're highlighted and they have that background that's darker. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're just gonna, and you can make this as light as you want. I kind of like it where it's at here tonight. I know my other one is a lot lighter, but I'm kind of liking this one. Each one can kind of always end up different. I just want to make sure I don't have brush marks here. So I did get one here, so I'll let that dry and we'll come back around and kind of build that up around it again. And you can kind of go crisscross when you get those brush marks. You just want to stay out of your crevices. So here's a good example. So in our crevice we have the rust, and so we really can't see much of our tissue paper wrinkled in there because we haven't highlighted it at all. And I'll actually just do this on one section just to show you guys. So I'm going to actually go and brush down in that crevice. So now you can see that orange peel is getting on all those wrinkles that are in there, and now we can see them. So if you want to do that, you could do that too. So it all depends how much contrast you want. So now with this section where we didn't highlight it with our orange peel, you really can't see the wrinkles in there in the tissue paper. But now when I come to this one where I did highlight it, we can see all those wrinkles now. So I can actually put it closer maybe so you can see that that's the difference. So when we have the rust here where we didn't highlight it at all, it just looks flat and smooth. But in this crevice where I now highlighted it with the orange peel, although it's still darker than our center of our section, the divot part, we can see our crevices, or not our crevices, but our wrinkles in that tissue paper a little more. And I actually kind of like that, so I think I'm going to go back and just do that to all of them. So it's the same. But you could leave it whichever way you want. But that does bring out the wrinkles in that crevice a little bit. I'm just going to do it a little bit, not much, because I still want it to be darker in those crevices. But that's what your dark, medium, and light colors will do for you, because we talk about that quite often, using 3 shades of color. So we have our dark here, we have our medium here, and then we have our light on top. And by doing that, that's what gives your piece a lot of dimension and character. And I'm actually just going to go into each little section a little bit. So you can or don't have to do it. It's up to you. But I'm just going to make them all match now that I did that to the one. And I'm going very lightly because I still want it darker in those crevices. But I just want to bring out the crinkled tissue paper a little bit, because I did like that one once we did that and showed it. So you can see, like here, there's lots of highlight on the crinkles, but here there isn't, and then you really don't notice them. So if we just bring in just a little bit of our orange peel on there, and I'm brushing really, really light. Can't stress that enough. I usually tell them kind of like you're going to give a sleeping baby a kiss that's been crying for an hour and you don't want to wake it up. Just really, really light. That's how light I'm brushing. So now we're back around. Got a little brush mark there, so we're going to brush the other way. Same with over here. So here's our other brush mark that we had, so we're going to try to blend that out. That's right here. And we'll just turn it around here a little bit. And just lighten it up a little bit around it and then fade that out, and that will kind of blend that together more so that's not so obvious. So now it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as much. It's just kind of blended out. Okay, so I kind of like that guy just the way it is. If you want your crevices more, if you want the whole sections more, you can do more as well, but I'm kind of liking it where it's at. So we'll put that one aside.
Do you remember what day we picked for the Halloween party?
October 30th, a week from Saturday.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our azalea one. And Yep, October 30th at 7 p.m. Probably, right?
I forgot what we said.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm guessing 7 p.m. Or we could do 6. I don't know. What time you guys want to have your Halloween party? 7?
I think it's 7.
7. It just keeps it the same. So now when I look at this piece, I can see a lot of my garnet through my azalea. So I want to come back and give it some more azalea, or royal fuchsia, I should say. I'm sorry, royal fuchsia, SS92 royal fuchsia, and we'll give that a little shake. So I do like the royal fuchsia and the garnet together. And let's see, so we do have a bigger pumpkin, so I'll probably go back. Looks like I must have used this one last time. This is a bigger size 10. I'd probably go with a size 8, but looks like I used this one last time, so that's what I'm going to use this time. So let's see if I can get our little comments back. Jean says pumpkins are like snowflakes, no two are alike. Yep, that's true. So now I have my 10 flat. I'd probably go with an 8 otherwise, but we're going to go with the 10. That's what I grabbed. So again, we have our little lines and crevices going vertical, so we're going to go horizontal across them. Just build this up a little bit more. And the reason for that is because I can see a lot of my garnet through the flatter surfaces. I do want the garnet down in the crevices, but like here's a big smooth area. I want that covered more, a little bit more with my fuchsia. And the reason I am saying that is because I can see my brush marks, and so I kind of want to get rid of those brush marks. So we'll just kind of crisscross it here, and that will do that. Let's see. And then we want to get on the bottom. We didn't get on the bottom last week. That's probably kind of a pet peeve, is to always do your bottoms. Yeah, it must have got in the white paint and whatnot, so that's why you want to do them so they don't look so rough. We'll get it looking better. And then we'll work our way around it. Cordy says, been pouring a lot of new stuff. Yep, every one of the new molds has been poured except the jingle. New jingle hasn't been poured.
Okay. We just replaced the mold.
Yep, he's just been replaced, yep.
That asks, when do you prefer a flat dry brush to a rounded one?
So we have a question of when do I prefer a flat dry brush to a rounded one. I particularly prefer the flat one for little areas, and then really big areas, I guess, would be my two.
You got a flat one right now?
Yep, I got a flat one right now because it's kind of a big area, and it had the royal fuchsia in it, so I must have used it last time, so I just thought I'd use it this time. The reason I like the flat brushes is even though it's wide, I can do a big area. I can also turn it on its edge and use the narrow area if I need to get in a little narrow area. That's especially good when you're doing little more of the detail stuff, like when we did fairy houses or the fairies, or even when we did our what did we do last month? The little ghost and the little boy pumpkin. I used the flat brush probably a little more with those than the round when there's more little detailed areas. A lot of people do steer clear of the flat brushes, but they're great brushes too. They have their little knacks, and one of them would be getting into little areas just by turning it on its edge. Like even if I had a little area here, so even up here, like I can turn it on its edge and get in there and not get the whole stem full of pink. Instead of going the wide part, then I have my whole stem full of pink. So you can turn it on its edge and get little areas. So that's why I do like the flat brushes. They're kind of a little more versatile, I think, than the round ones. But it's just personal preference. Brushes are really just personal preference. And then probably what you use more, you just get used to them more. Like liners, I like longer liners. I like more of a script liner than a, with more long bristles than a short-haired liner, because you can load those up with more paint and you can go further. So I do like the script liners, but a lot of people are afraid of those as well. But if you just practice with them, they're really user-friendly once you get used to them. And you, I would think like them just because you don't have to go back and get paint all the time, because they do carry that paint if you load them up really well, especially for doing like eyes and lines. So let's see if we can get our things back up. So I guess if you guys are enjoying our videos that we've been doing, always give us a likes or a thumbs up or something so we know we're doing the right thing or giving you the right information. I try not to just paint and not tell you what I'm doing or why I'm doing, and I try to remember always to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing, or what we're trying to achieve, instead of just watching me paint. So that's why I'm going across my little crevices here. I want to let that burgundy down in that deeper part, because that's what's going to make our pumpkin look even more roundish instead of flattish. So I'm actually going across my little beads up here on top too, even though they're going to get silver on them. I want to bring that fuchsia color up underneath there as well. So now I can see brush marks here, so I'm actually going to go up and down across them, kind of crisscross it too, just so I can work those brush marks out of there. I must have been a little wet with my brush last week when I was brushing on here. And I don't want to see brush marks when I'm dry brushing, really. I just want a nice, smooth, even coverage. So we're just going to keep building it up here, and thanks for those hearts and thumbs up and all that stuff. We appreciate that, you guys. Yep, they like the video. They're letting us know they like the video. Huh? I did, yep, if they liked it, like what we're telling them or what we're doing. Did everyone enjoy their pumpkin box? Was that a good choice for a Halloween? Well, I guess not Halloween, more of a fall box it was, because we already did our fall box, so it's... Last year we did scarecrows, yep, and I got sets of those poured if anybody needs those too. I think I got 5 sets of those guys poured again. I tend to drag that stuff home and then pour it and think I have enough, and then turn around and the shelf is empty, so then I gotta drag them back. Not really brushing harder. I think it's because it's a bigger brush and there's more, probably more bristles is what it is. And then this actually has, I think, more texture even than the little tissue guy. Not really brushing harder. I just think it's the more bristles. Okay, so I think he's looking pretty good. Come down in here and get some more on the bottom so we can get that to match our sides. Another thing I notice is I tend to hold my brushes a little further down than a lot of people. A lot of people hold up higher. If you're a heavy brusher, you might want to hold back further. That might help you brush lighter. But if you want more control, I tend to hold down at the end of the brush more. If you want more control of where that brush is going. I don't want it to go in my crevices, so I guess that's probably why I'm holding down at the end further. We kind of noticed that at the classroom too. Just trying to notice what I'm doing to be able to help to tell people, you know, in order to be able to tell them to help them, it's kind of have to pay attention more of what I'm doing versus what they're doing. So I think that's looking pretty good. From there we can go to our Azalea, OS559 Azalea. Yep, it's got more texture on it too than the other one. So we'll go a little bit of Azalea, and then we're just going to try to put that in the center of our each little section here on the bottom. So I'm going to use my same dirty brush, grab that Azalea a couple times and brush it out just to kind of work it in there. That gives us a nice gradual change of color instead of a real abrupt change of color. If you want more of an abrupt change of color, you can go with white, a brand new brush. I tend to like to just keep using the same brush. So now I don't want to get my light pink down in my crevices again. So I'm going to try to just brush through the center here. So I'm not making big brush strokes across each section. I'm just staying in the one little section itself, coming down to the bottom. So we have one layer there. Now I'm going to go to my next section. And again, I'm not doing big brush strokes across both. I mainly want to keep that right through the center. That way we keep our royal fuchsia here and then our garnet over there, or in the deeper part. So I'm just going up, back and forth through the center, kind of up and down. So now here's a shorter section. You can see I haven't added more paint to my brush yet, but there's still, the azalea was coming out. Now I'm going to grab some azalea. So I did 3 sections with that load. So according, we have azalea OS559. So now we'll go to our next section again. I'm just going to go right up and down the center, going horizontal. You can see it's giving us a nice light area right through that center, right down to the bottom. And it's still in there. I can still see color coming out. So you can see it doesn't take a lot of paint, and you can go quite a distance with your lighter color once you get to that part of your project. And I kind of went up and down a little bit, but I don't want to go up and down too much because I don't want to fill in those little vertical lines. I do want to keep that garnet red down in the deep part. And then I am coming up into the beads a little bit because I don't want to just stop at the beads right here, because we have this area right here and we still want our light pink on that, and then our silver is going to cover up what gets on the beads. But we want to bring that light pink right up that whole section. So we still have paint in there, and we'll just keep going. Just brushing back and forth. Kind of Xing it once in a while. It's kind of just personal technique what you want to do. So we're actually back around, so I'm going to go one more time. So I don't want it too light, but I want it just a little bit lighter. And again, I'm starting up in the beads just a little bit so that my light color is starting right here. And if I started at the bottom of my bead, I would have dark here, but I really want that light to come all up a little further. I want it more gradual, not just a blunt line at the bottom of the beads. And then really just right through the center of the sections. Again, leaving our azalea or our royal fuchsia on both sides. And then right down to the bottom. Let's see, if you're local, one of our ladies brought in some of her baskets that she's been weaving for craft shows, and I think they'll be there for this week yet, and then they'll be going to another craft show. So if you're looking for homemade baskets, we got homemade baskets. And Jan's actually, I think, 83 years old, but she does a great job weaving baskets and keeps quite busy. And young, Courtney says. So I'm just looking, make sure it's even. So like here's a lot of the light pink here, the azalea, but then there's like not much here. So I want to build up a little bit more right there. Just to get that more evenness so it's not blotchy looking. Alright, so we got our azalea on there. So we'll put that aside, and now we are actually to the point where we can go to silver, if I can find it in my cart here. Silver, where art thou? You could use gold too. Oh, that's gray, that's not silver. Let's see. Porter's helping me find silver. Oh, I got it. Thank you. So we have our Duncan Ultra Metallic Silver UM956. So the ladies had fun at the classroom this week using rub-on metallics on their pumpkins, and it's actually the furniture paste wax metallics that you can get that they use. They turned out really nice. So we have our silver metallic UM956 by Duncan. Now because I have a whole new color, I'm going to switch brushes. And I'll probably just go to a, this is a size 8 round dry brush. It doesn't matter if they're round or flat, it's not a big deal. Let's see, looks like I lost my paper towel. We'll get a new one. Now because we're doing pretty big areas, even with the stems and the beads, we're just going to use the size 8. A 5 or 8 would be good. I'm going to dab into the edge of my silver, brush it out on my paper towel, and now we can brush across our little beads or berries or whatever they are, our textures on our beaded pumpkin, and then I come right up onto our stem and did our stem. So that goes really, really quick, as you can see. Again, I'm just brushing across. I'm not going up and down because I don't want to fill in that crevice. I want to keep that dark crevice there. That's what gives our pumpkin lots of shape. And then when I come down to our little beads on the end, I brush really kind of lightly just to stay on my beads and not get it all over the slice part or the section of my where the pink is. I just kind of want it on the beads. And now I can brush bigger because I got more beads here. And we'll grab some more and brush it out. And now I can do big strokes because I got beads all over up here, so we can just get them all. I don't have to be quite as careful as I was down there. And now we'll just keep working our way around just like we did with our other colors. And you can make it as silver as you want to, or leave as much of the garnet and the pink coming through as you want to. It's really a nice project because there's so much texture on it. So now I'm back to my little area here, and you could switch to a smaller brush, but so what I tend to do is put my brush straight instead of at an angle. So I have my piece, I'll turn it sideways, and I put my brush straight, and that way the tip of it's going right on the top of those little berries. If I had it on the side, I'd have lots of silver all over. So I'm actually holding it more straight instead of at an angle, just to kind of control where that silver's going. So that's one way you can do that too. So now we're just going to brush again our nice big area that we can brush and just cover it up with our silver. Work our way around. You could use other colors too. I think there's gold and copper or bronze is I think all that's left with the metallics from Duncan. But again, I got my brush standing kind of straight up and down just so I'm using the very tip of it. Going kind of slowly and carefully so I'm not getting it all over the section that's not beaded. But just by having it straight up and down instead of at an angle, that helps kind of, you can kind of control where that paint is going. And now I have more room, so we can kind of go a little bit bigger here with our strokes again. So that's just how I do it. Other people may have other ways of doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just do what works for you. So we got more room up here. We can make big old strokes again. And we can do our stem some more. And as you can see, we're just working our way around again. Now I'm back on my tip of my brush again, because I just got these little berries down here. If you have the rub-on metallics, you could use that too. The Doc Holliday stuff isn't made anymore. We just use the Gilded Furniture Paste. That works quite well. And it goes a long ways too. But the silver paint in the bottle works as well. So again, we got more room up here on top, so we can make those big old brush strokes back and forth. You can see how we're letting our garnet down in our crevice by going across it instead of with it. It's really important to be going across those textures instead of with them. I had one of our ladies, her pumpkin was kind of plain, and she was actually going with her crevice with her lighter colors, and that filled it in, and so like her pumpkin became all one color and she lost all her shading, so I actually had her start over and then kind of did it step by step with her so she could see how much of a difference it made by going across those crevices instead of with them. What is what? Let's see if we can bring the comments up here. Let's see. What is it? I guess maybe you made the rub-on metallic. So it used to be a product that was made that's no longer made by Doc Holliday was one of the companies that had it. They came in little pots, and it was real thick, pasty, like shoe paste wax, if you've ever done that. But it's no longer made, and you just dipped your finger in it and rubbed it on. We did have metallics in one of our first boxes, the one we had the birdhouses and the birds with. But that product, you may be able to find that at some places or on Amazon yet, but it's actually, we were actually told it was discontinued, but there may be old supply out there yet. So if you search rub-on metallic on Amazon, it'll come up yet, but we were told that it's no longer made. But there are places that still have it available. So the option that I found that's close to that, I guess, and I can bring a sample next week. It's called Gilded Paste. It's a furniture paste, and it's a rub-on metallic is what it is. And it comes in copper and bronze and German silver and not as many colors as what the rub-on metallics that were made for ceramics previously, but there's Rub and Buff is another one. Let me see, I think Deco Art has another one, like if you go to Hobby Lobby, and I'll try to remember to bring those next week to show you guys. Prices are all over, yep, from $9.99 is usually a pretty common price. But it's just a thick paste, and it's a metallic finish. Used to be able to get blues and greens and pinks and browns and coppers, and you can't get as many colors anymore. But the one we had in our box, we did it, was with the birdhouses and the birds, probably our first year. And it does go a long ways, even though it's expensive. Like I said, we were told it wasn't made anymore, so we don't carry it anymore. But I'll bring that Gilded furniture paste stuff. And that's pretty popular right now. With a lot of people doing the shabby chic furniture, so we have all our little beads done here with our silver, and you can do them as much as you want. I kind of let my garnet red down in my crevices. Getting white dust on the table here always. So that is what our pumpkin, our beaded pumpkin looks like. Got the whole stem. Again, we got the garnet red left down in the crevices. Just making sure all my little beads here got silver on them. And that's actually a finished beaded pumpkin. That's really cool. I think navy and medium blue and baby blue would have been another pretty one, but I tried to stay away from the blue because I'm always doing the blue. And we had the blue knitted one, so that's why I went with this one. So that one is all done. So now we'll go to our tissue rust one, and we'll get some more silver. And we'll just keep going. I just dry brush these little stems with the silver as well, just to kind of make the whole set. That's kind of what brought the whole set together. They all have something in common, and it's their silver that's on them. So we'll just dry brush this on this stem. You guys can do this with any pumpkins. It don't have to be the fat and oval squatty pumpkins. Like in any pumpkins you have, you can do these techniques on it. It's flexible to anything. So if you have other pumpkins and you don't have these pumpkins, just do it with those. Like the Donna set of 3 pumpkins, you could do it on those. Or just there's different pumpkins out there. There's tons of them. It's just a technique to show you what you can do that's kind of outside the box. So we're going to let that one set it aside and grab the green one. But the silver is kind of what brings them all together as a set. Kind of not your typical plain old orange pumpkins. It just gave them some nice color. You can see that dry brushing the silver on goes really, really easy. Doesn't take a whole lot. You could use the copper or the gold, bronze, whatever you have. And then I'm just letting the dark green down in the crevices, kind of just highlighting it with the silver. This one I'm going to come back and do a little bit more because it was kind of just smearing and not dry brushing. Because it's kind of more of a smooth stem. Huh?
When this pumpkin was killing dust.
Oh, was it? Courtney usually
there's a lot of dust in these guys.
Courtney puts lots of time in dusting Bisque, you guys, and inspecting it. So they're usually, I would think, pretty clean when they come.
The insides were.
Insides were?
Yeah, they were very dusty.
I don't know. Okay, so we got our stems all done with our rust, but again, you could do other colors as well, you know, the copper or the gold, but that is our 3 set. And then I actually used the gloss sealer, aerosol sealer, to seal them. And then this is what they look like when they're done. They got that nice shiny finish. It kind of gives that glazed look to them instead of a dry brush technique or a non-fired technique. So from there, what time are we looking at? 8:23. So then we have our fluted pumpkin and our knitted pumpkin. So you guys can base coat those for next week, which is just painting them out their solid color. And then we'll start with that, and we'll actually be done early. I'll have to throw in another set of something. We'll come up with another technique we can do as well, because we'll probably finish these guys next week. Crackle? We could maybe do a crackle on a pumpkin. Okay, we'll do we'll probably finish these next week. If we don't, it'll be just a few minutes into the next week. I'll grab another pumpkins, and we can do the crackle technique that we did on the mushroom at one time. So you can base coat the fluted one with the deep turquoise, and then the knitted one you can do with the navy, and that's where we'll start with next week. And then we should be able to finish these guys next week. And then we will have our Halloween party, and then the following week we will do the crackle technique on a pumpkin. I'll dig out another pumpkin. So I think that's probably where we're at a good stopping point for tonight. So I think that's where we'll probably stop for tonight.
And 10/26 should be the November box and the extras.
So November 26th, Courtney says you can watch for the post in the Bisque box group for the full release of the November box, which is kind of it's Christmassy, wintry. I'll see if I can get her to post one more picture, kind of.
This isn't them, but it's kind of them. It's not them.
Oh, so Courtney says it's not this, but it's kind of this. Kind of. Oh boy. So it's not this, but it's kind of this.
Any guesses?
Any guesses, anybody? But anyway, we'll see if we can get her to maybe post another picture of one of the items that's in that box. And then on the 26th, because she's off this weekend, so we got to give her some free time. We've had no days off, definitely not 2 days off in a row. So we just kind of got to catch our breath here a little bit after 2.5 years, and she's off for the weekend, you guys. So, Courtney says Gail's hot. What did Gail guess? Let's see, Gail. You're hot, Gail. You're on the right track. Let's put it that way. You're on the right track, Gail. And I'll get Courtney to maybe post one more picture tomorrow to give you guys some ideas. So, hopefully you guys had a great week. We'll have class again on Thursday. We'll finish the box pumpkins. Then on Saturday, we'll have our Halloween party at 7, and Courtney will post that. Just a free technique. Just painting the witch, and then we'll have some, probably some giveaways too, and just have some trivia, and just have a fun Halloween night. And then the following week, I think your boxes will start shipping and invoicing and shipping and all that stuff already, so the month really flew by. It's dark out almost when I drive down here tonight already, so I don't like that, but that's okay too. So I guess have a great week, you guys, and we will see you next Thursday. And watch for the 26th for what the box is. Night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.